I want to finish off chatting with you about. I think you're one of my not my only friends. You're in my top. You're definitely the biggest fan that I know. We grew up playing soccer together. USA Soccer. Let's talk about the current situation.
Yes.
What's going on there? Calvin and I are always keeping up about USA Soccer. We obviously grew up playing together and have stayed connected through soccer. And it's definitely something that we like to watch on the weekends or whenever they're playing. But dude, did you catch any of the Champions League today? What do you think about Berhalter still in position? What's your take on the current USMNT?
Yeah. I didn't catch any of it today. We don't have I think it's on Paramount, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, dude, I
games,
can't even. I'm the same way. I'm like keeping up on Twitter, basically.
Yeah. So I'll catch the highlights. Saw the Pulisic goal today, so that was fun to see. But
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so and PSV, that's been fun to see what they've been doing. That's pretty cool. All Dest, Pepe, Tillman, all of them cooking out there, doing big stuff. I'm excited about Tillman. I think he's kind of coming into his own. Have you seen some of the stuff he's been doing? Like,
he looks good. And I think
crazy.
I think there's a couple of the USA guys that I'll text Calvin and just go on these rants about like. My main issue with the U.S. men's national team, which I'm sure a lot of people who care about soccer in our country probably have a similar issue. It's gotten better over the years. But look, I'm all for the MLS. I think the MLS is a great thing for us to develop. And like, it's not a bad league by any, but you look at it compared to all the other leagues across Europe, and it is sort of the league where the Messis of the world go to retire. Like, it's where these guys go to retire. Like, the best of the best come to the U.S. and retire to some extent. And on the other end, it's great development. Like, I was fortunate enough to like get to do a full tour of like the Philly Union, and like they were telling me all about the academy and all the rest of it. And we have one of the better academies, Philly Union. So like all these guys are coming up through Philly, through the academy, and then going over to Europe. I'll go on these rants and text Calvin and be like, dude, why is this guy who's got like 10 goals in the MLS getting any looks for the national team when we have guys that are like in the Premier League? It like frustrates me to no end. But I think you mentioned Ricardo Pepi. I think he was one. Now he was MLS for a while, right? Before he went over there. He was one that I doubted.
Dallas for a couple of years.
Yeah, he was one that I definitely texted you and ranted about. I was like, "Who's this Pepe guy?" And then like he ended up being, So there, to some extent, I think
he's a great player. Yeah.
Oh, he's great, dude. He's killing.
I think that for US to be huge at soccer, MLS has to work.
Yep.
And it has to be huge. Because to get people who are that top tier, we have to be getting like as many kids playing soccer for as long as we possibly can.
Yep.
And if that's a way for us to get money into the different programs and get more looks at more kids, because the more we bring kids into the system and bring kids into these better coaches, better academies, bigger academies, more widespread academies, I think the better that we'll just have more chances, at developing the next Messi or the next whoever it may be, even like a Pulisic, Yeah. So I think I'm high on MLS. I'm not probably as good at watching it as I should be, but I think MLS is, it's kind of the hope for US soccer, is kind of weird and sad as that sounds.
Yep. And I think, the way that they've structured the academies now, like, I mean, when we were playing high school soccer, there was the occasional kid who would not be playing high school soccer, but was on like the Union Academy team or like FC Delco. And like, he couldn't, like, there was kids that like couldn't play, like they were playing clubs, so they couldn't. So like, I think over the years it's become, you basically these days, you completely forego your high school soccer team to go to an academy if your talent is at that level. So like, I was talking to a couple of guys that work for the Union, and they were telling me that we have a guy 15 years old. I want to say 15 years old. So it's
Mhm.
Quinn Sullivan's on the team now. It's
Oh yeah,
his younger brother Cavan.
yeah. He's
Cavan.
like the top prospect.
Dude, they were
Yeah,
hyping this guy up.
he's
They were saying
crazy.
he's like the future of U.S. soccer. I'm like, this kid's like 12 years old. It's exactly like 15 years old. But it's like that's to me that's really encouraging because in England and in Spain and Portugal, he says they're star. I mean, you'll get like an 8-year-old signed from. If we start doing that in the U.S. and really
Yeah,
start getting them in at a young age and kind of make sure that quality is top level. I mean, the Union, we just had McKenzie, Aronson go overseas, and Aronson's struggling now. I don't know what's going on with Brendan
oh,
now.
man.
He's not even. It's
Yeah,
tough. The
it's sad.
Medford Messi. He's a local guy. He's like from 10
I
minutes from
know.
where I am. He's struggling
Yeah,
out there. He's younger. Paxton Aronson. He's still out there too, right?
yeah. He's at Frankfurt. Yeah,
Frankfurt. Is he playing at all, or is
I think he got a start this past weekend or maybe the weekend
nice?
before. Yeah, so
Nice.
he's just now starting to get some time, I think. So
There we go.
we'll see how he ends up developing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
and
it's gonna be. We have the World Cup coming to the U.S. That's
yeah,
insane.
this is like if there's any time to push US soccer, like that's why Messi coming is huge. Like so many people have like who care or like, don't care about soccer at all, but they
Yep.
hear Messi's coming, they're like, I have to watch MLS just to see Messi. Ticket prices shoot through the roof. It's like $1,000 to watch Messi play.
It's insane.
Like everyone
I
wants to
can't
see
believe
Messi.
it.
Yeah.
It's so
So
much money. Does he locked in for a few years with Miami?
I think so. I think it's pretty much like he's gonna retire at Miami. Yeah.
Very
Yeah, and
nice.
I mean the stories just like even his first, few games
Oh, it
at
was
Miami
insane.
were crazy. Like he's putting up multiple goals, like basically dragging Miami to win the League's Cup. I think they won in the
Yeah,
end.
no, dude, it was insane, and it was
Yeah.
like you can't make that stuff up with a guy like Messi. Like, and it was so cool to see him get his World Cup. And I think growing up, I was probably more on the Ronaldo side than the Messi side. But from a morals perspective, it was not easy to stay a Ronaldo fan throughout the years.
Yeah.
I'll say that
He's just
he
insane.
turned into a like I don't want to say scumbag, but just like some of the stories that came out, it was like, come on, man, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um,
Hard to root for him. But yeah.
very hard to root for him. I told you I completely dumped Manchester United as my team. No
Yeah, was
longer.
that just because of all the various different stories, the
Yep.
drama,
Yep.
all
I
that
think,
situation?
well, ever since Sir Alex has been gone, it's just gone so
Yeah.
downhill.
Oh, it's terrible.
And then just the Ronaldo nonsense. And then you put on top of that the Mason Greenwood nonsense mixed with all the rest. I was like, this is enough. I can't even, like, this is bad, bad, bad. And I also like the aspect of, because, when you're a kid in our area where Calvin and I grew up, you pick like one of the top four maybe as your team. Like nobody's really, you root for a team, but unless your parents or somebody like that has an affiliation for a team, you're kind of just picking one of the top four typically.
Right.
So I went with Man U. They had Rooney, Ronaldo killing it. Like it was like
Right,
very
and that's why
fun.
you picked him, right? You
Yeah,
picked him for the players basically because you're like, oh,
exactly.
that's such an interesting team, such an
So fun
interesting
to
kind
watch.
of storyline. Yeah,
So fun to watch back then. And it just over the years just became less and less fun to root for them. And then last year I was a big Leeds United fan with Aronson and Adams playing, but it just you can't the relegation thing. Shout out to anybody who's from the UK, if anybody from the UK is even watching this, but I don't know how you guys do it. If your team gets relegated, I can't imagine like the Eagles or the Sixers going into like the second tier league and me still. I mean, yeah, I'd still be rooting for them, but my goodness, am I really going to spend my Sunday afternoon watching an Eagles game if they're in like the Canadian League or you know what I mean? Like that's a tough one, dude. So shout out to any Leeds United fan who's still hanging on, but I had to I had to dump them. So now I'm on to Fulham. And dude, Fulham's been killing it. That last few weeks, we're back. We're looking good. Raul Jimenez is starting to pick it up. He couldn't score for the longest time, and he's scoring goals now. And I love that we picked up that guy Palhinha is really, really solid. You still have Tim Ream in the back. So I've been liking to root for Fulham, and also it's like the oldest club in London, I believe, or one of the oldest clubs in the Premier League. But
Yeah.
it's a fun team to root for. Are you a fan of any of the Premier League clubs these days?
No, there's not really anyone that I'm specifically rooting for. It's more just, yeah, the interest in the different stories and seeing
Yep.
like, oh, is, Holland going to break this record? Is Burnley going to stay up? Are they going to
Yep.
make it with Company as their manager type of thing? Like,
Yep.
that's super interesting to watch. And then just all the American players,
Yep.
tracking them every week, seeing what they're doing, seeing who's scoring goals, watching the kind of the highlight reels that various Twitter accounts post of the different teams and the different players. So that's kind of what I try to do. I don't get a ton of time to watch games unless it's really the USA playing, because then they're on TV. We don't have cable either, so it's like hard to watch other than that.
Yep. Now, are we back on Greg Berhalter? What's the take here? I think I'm personally slowly coming back a little bit. Yeah, I mean, some of the texts I sent to Calvin, I wanted this guy gone.
I think basically every time we've lost, you've said fire Berhalter. Why is this guy even here in the first place? Get him out of here immediately. But yeah, I think that Berhalter is, like, as far as our options go, he's basically our best option. We're not going to be getting those top of the line managers. We're not getting Pep. Let's be real. We're not getting whoever's looking for a job right now. Tuchel, I don't know. We're not getting that. Is it on? He's not coming here.
Yeah, and a part of that would be weird too, to have someone who wasn't an American. A part of that would be weird.
Yeah, it would. And I mean, I don't think it usually works out that well for teams that end up doing that anyway. Like Mexico last year had, Martino, who was Argentinian, but that kind of went downhill fast for them.
Yep.
And I think kind of in general, like the history of it, it's not had a very good history. So
no.
I think that of the American coaches, if you kind of, limit it to American coaches, you can maybe say Jesse Marsch, who was at Leeds for a while, who was at, Salzburg, Leipzig for a little bit, but he's kind of had a rough go at his last few places that he's coached at. And kind of, I think a lot of people have, realized he has his own shortcomings too. So I think in terms of Berhalter, he usually has a pretty good defensive setup, and kind of the offense is usually where he struggles with. So that's kind of just, something that we can work with and can try to build on that and try and find ways to make the offense work. So I'm like meh on Berhalter. I don't think we should fire him. I think we may as well just build on what we already have, the history that we have with him. And that's like a starting point.
Yep.
We know what we're going to get, and we know what we need to work on with him.
Yep. No, I hear you. And I think he's definitely grown on me, mainly because the players seem to be behind him for what for a while. For a while, I was like, why are we behind? But I get it to some extent now. I just, like, people like Pulisic are backing him, and that's the guy on the team. He's the, if Pulisic's happy, I'm happy, right? Like that's our future. But at the same time, I would love to see maybe like Clint Dempsey, Tim Howard, someone like that come in.
That'd be cool. I don't think they're coaching though right now.
No, they're not coaching at all.
Analysts, right?
No, they're just full. Tim Howard, I could see probably more realistically. Like, he's got sort of that like very tactical mindset. Like, the way he breaks down a game is really interesting. But the coaching experience is definitely not there. But I'd love to see if I think the Copa America is going to be a big test for him. If we really struggle in that, which obviously there's good teams, but nowhere compared to the World Cup level of talent. Like, we need to be in that final 3 or 4 teams to really, I think, keep his job safe. Another thing I liked about, kind of goes to the fact that the players like him. Did you see the clip of Gio and the birthday cake or whatever that was? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that one. No.
So Gio, they're in camp. This was, I guess, the last round of matches that we had. And that was one of the biggest things that, I mean, crazy scandal. Any of the listeners who don't know, just Google Greg Berhalter, Gio Reyna. Really wild situation. It made like national news. Like, just like basically the stuff that happens in like youth soccer happening at a national level, with just like drama with the parents and all the rest of it. So it gave me a really sour taste.
Which is crazy, though. It's crazy when it happens and your parents are both incredibly famous U.S. soccer players themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was just a lot going on, lots of drama, and it almost felt like Berhalter was like selling Gio out to some extent, vice versa. Gio's parents selling Berhalter out. It was just a whole mess of a situation, and I didn't like the way it was handled to any extent on either end, really. But it was good to see fairly recently, within the last couple months here, they're all in the team camp, and it was Gio's birthday. And you have Berhalter bringing him out a birthday cake. They're all singing "Happy Birthday" to Gio. Gio's smiling, and it was genuine. Like I was like, oh, this is kind of like they're kind of putting it on to some extent, but it looked genuine. It looked like Gio's sort of back and comfortable in the camp again. It seems like they've resolved whatever that was, because it to me it was just such a miss on Berhalter's part. Okay, it's one thing if you want to limit Gio's time, but don't call him before the World Cup and basically tell our third or fourth best player, maybe even second best player, and it's arguable, but he's in our top 5 best players, and he's getting a call from the head coach prior to the World Cup that basically is saying, "Hey, Gio, you're really not going to play at all." That, or at least that's how the story came out. Which that's something the coach has every right to do. But if he's in your top 5 players, that's not the way you phrase it. You want to put it in more of a, hey, Gio, like there's a lot of talent on this team. Like, you really got to earn your spot type of thing, rather than, hey, just to let you know you're not going to play. Like that was just like it. So, and obviously when Gio came in, you saw that speed off the bench. He only got whatever it was, 15 minutes in a couple of those games, but you saw that speed. You saw that, like, oh, what would he have done if he was on the field for a little bit more? So like, I understand his parents' frustration. I understand everybody else's frustration about the whole situation, but if we can find a way to make that work, and if Greg can kind of be that sort of players coach, like almost like a Jurgen Klopp type of situation where everybody's behind the coach is just like one of their best friends type of situation. Berhalter still has that kind of like stern, he can, like, him and Tim Ream were getting into it the other night. How about Dest kicking the ball like that, dude? That was insane.
Goodness,
you saw that?
That was so bizarre. I've never seen anything like that. He
had a freak
one
out.
thing happened and he just snapped.
That was insane, man. I will say that was like his PR manager in the background, like, hey, Serginho, you need to get something out there immediately, dude. Like, or you're never going to play again. Like, I mean, he's so talented, though. I think part of that was probably he feels like he's irreplaceable to some extent. So it was good for him to be humbled. But dude, we almost shot ourselves in the foot. If we had let up a couple more goals there, we weren't even making it to the end.
It could have been really bad. Yeah.
Dude, that would have been a nightmare. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what it's like for World Cup in the USA, man. Like, Paxton's going to be very watchable for Paxton.
Dude, I want to try and go to a game so bad with Paxton. Dude, think how he'll be like 5, something like that. 5 years old. Goodness. He could totally go.
And that's the thing. That's like 5. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how old were we when we had our first memories? But 5, I mean, it's not that, like, you could,
not far off. Yeah.
He'd probably remember some of it. Like, he wouldn't remember like everything, but he'd probably remember some of that game.
And it's like close enough where it's like, yeah, maybe you see a few pictures or something to kind of remind you of it. And you like kind of feel that moment, at least if you don't fully remember it, you kind of like feel like you remember it type of thing,
Yep. Oh my goodness, dude. It's going to be electric. I know there's a couple games in Philly, but I don't know if they changed this, something like that, medal, like, so I don't want to see the USA getting into bronze. But
yeah,
I mean, I guess for us that would be something if we got like third
bronze
place.
Would be huge, actually.
That'd be nice. But you want to shoot for the stars when you have the pool of 6 and the McKennies and the Adams. Dude, our squad and think about how we played against England. You know what I mean? Like we stood up against England and played a real game. Like we
looked the better team for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so we like if we can figure it out how to do that consistently, we can be really good. And I think that Reyna is, like, for me, I'm almost at the point where he's like the most important player on the team to me.
Dude, he's so good
because he just changes the offense completely when he's in. He makes things happen.
He had a play today for. He's not really getting that much tick for Dortmund, but he had a play today that was all over Twitter where the ball, like he's got 4 defenders around him. The ball just stuck to his feet, dude. Like he does not lose the ball. He's got 4 guys around him in a really awkward position and finds a way out of it. He is such a good dribbler. He sees the field so well. He can finish too. He doesn't do it as much as I'd like to see, but like if he could get to like that Pulisic level of just like a clinical type of finisher, like dude, oh, he's already something special. He's so young. I mean, our whole team is super young, so it's just going to be cool to see. What do you think about our defense? Because Tim Ream's going to be a little old for the World Cup, right?
Yeah, Tim Ream's going to be old. I think that's definitely going to be our biggest question mark because no one's really defensively strong there. You know, maybe you could say Robinson is. You know, he's got the speed, but and hopefully Richards develops.
I was just going to say, yeah, Richards. I guess he's been picking it up with Crystal Palace, doing well.
Yeah, he's been getting time at the 6. He's been playing defensive midfielder, so hopefully that'll translate over to center back. But he's definitely our like locked in center back, I think, for 2026. I would say. But other than that, I think it's kind of open. There's a lot of people who are kind of going to get up into that 30s, you know, mid 30s range, along with Ream. I feel like by that time.
Yeah. And I mean, if Ream can keep playing at a Premier League level too, I say we keep him out there. I mean,
he's like 35 or something. What? Maybe older than that at this point.
I don't know. He just
crazy.
I mean, I don't know. He has those weeks against some of the bigger clubs. Like he's very hit or miss in the Premier League this year, at least. Like that.
Yeah.
It hasn't been completely his fault. They've just looked like Fulham's looked a little dysfunctional in the center back area, but they've been picking it up lately. So I don't know, dude. When I'm playing FIFA with Fulham, sometimes I'll put Anthony Robinson in the center back. Maybe we get a Joe Scally on the left side with Dest on the right, because Scally is so good too. It'd be a shame if he can't even start.
I know,
so it's like there's a lot of guys that. Or maybe we push Dest up to like a wing position because he could play kind of offensive.
He could definitely play wing. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a defensive liability at this point, but hopefully he can kind of grow in that area. And then
his speed, though, he can get back on anybody. He's so fast. He can just
he's so fast, insanely good technical skill. If he can just like kick his defensive abilities up just a notch, he would be starter at any club, basically. You know, if we can get one more CB center back along with Richards, for 2026, I think we'll be in a good place. I'm just not sure where that second center back will come from. If that's an existing guy or some new younger guy that's going to step up. I don't really know of any kind of prospects in that area or kind of close, so we might just have to work with what we have now.
Yeah, like is McKenzie even getting looks in that spot anymore?
I think he's kind of, you know, plateaued out.
He kind of had his chance. Yeah, he had his chance.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to freaking John Brooks, man? I miss John Brooks back there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think he's still getting some amount of time, but I think he hasn't been quite as good. And I think there must have been some sort of drama with him and Berhalter or something. There had to have been something behind the scenes going on there. Because he was like locked in starter, like a step above everyone else for a while.
He was real young. His like first World Cup, he had that header goal back in like the Landon Donovan days, if you remember that.
Yeah,
so I don't know what happened to him. Who's going to start keeper, dude? Is Stefan going to potentially come back into the mix, or is it?
So, I mean, I think it's going to be Turner or Slanina if he can make something happen and kind of, you know, get a lot more experience. Maybe Chris Brady, I think, who plays for the Chicago Fire, I've heard a lot of good things about, who's also another young, like 18, 19-year-old keeper.
Oh, nice.
I think our young keepers, we have a lot of good prospects for. From what I've heard, there's also one playing, Diego Cocan on Barcelona, has been getting a lot of, you know, call-ups to the first team for Barcelona.
Heck yeah.
I mean, he still might be the second, third choice Barcelona keeper, but, you know, it's Barcelona, so they obviously
you're getting
well with him. Yeah,
you're getting good practice shots at the very least.
It will probably be Turner, but who knows? You know, you never know with people who's going to make the jump and when.
Yeah,
you know
what's going on with Turner this year? Like he's been struggling, right? He's Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah, Nottingham, and I think he just got back the starting job this week. We'll see if that ends up lasting, but he lost it for a while. They picked up some, international keeper for a while, but he kind of played pretty poorly also.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Turner's back in that. He obviously let in a couple goals for the U.S. that were pretty
Oh
rough
my goodness,
against
yeah.
Trinidad. So I mean, I think it's still totally his role. I don't think anyone's even close to him, even after
I
those
mean,
mistakes.
he killed it in the World Cup, and even leading up to the
Yeah,
World Cup, he was so good.
so
Um,
good.
so yeah, we'll see. But no, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun to watch, especially because it's
Yeah,
in the U.S. Can't wait. USA soccer, baby. It's going to be fun. And it's fun that, like, because the U.S. has just never been known for soccer, and now we finally have something to actually kind of. I mean, I think in a lot of the rankings, we're in like the top 15 teams in the
yeah.
world,
I
which is
think
crazy.
internationally we're ranked within 15 pretty much, for the past few years now. And yeah, so I think like for one of the first times we have like, 20 people playing in the best leagues. Basically our whole first team is playing in the top leagues of soccer, which has never really been the case.
Yep.